Trash Talk and Gruntworks, and super excited to bring you part two of our three-part series of how to invest your money if you got money. Now, we're bringing Army veteran Ken back on, and he's going to tell you what to do with your money by going through a scenario with a CPA and myself of what kind of questions you're going to answer and how the system looks. Now, Facebook has a lot of scams, all right, but if you follow Veteran Trash Talk, you know that we're not a scam, and information is power. All you have to do doesn't cost you anything. Scan that QR code right there. I think it's right there, something like that. Yeah, that'll take you to Veteran Trash Talk. Go to the events and say interested in going, all right, to part two of Army veteran Ken and financial security. We'll see you then.
Hey, what's up, Mental Health Nation? Hope everybody's having a great day. First of all, I want to say hi to Lynn. Lynn, how you doing today?
Hey, how's everybody doing? How you doing?
Yeah, going well. Secondly, I want to apologize for last night, but as we all know, life happens sometimes, and Chris had a family emergency and he had to take care of it. I did a Facebook Live video, just kind of let everybody know what was going on. So, as we know here at VTT, family comes first, and it's most important to take care of your loved ones. And we can always do the podcast the next night or just, get to it when we get to it. And that's perfectly fine. It happens all the time. But before we jump into everything, we have a lot of things to cover today. I'm going to be going over all kinds of natural remedies and health things. But please remember, I am not a doctor. But I've educated myself on how to heal myself, my body naturally. And I get a lot of questions over the past year about that. So I figured, well, you know what? We're going to take the month of August off. So what better time to leave off with a whole bunch of information on what you can do to kind of research for the next month on how to heal yourself naturally. But along with that, just remember that Reads Across America Radio replays my broadcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. You just download your favorite radio app, whether it's a TuneIn app, the Odyssey app, or the iHeartRadio app. And search for Reads Across America Radio. You know, you see my programming, but all that great programming. Along with that, you see the QR code on the upper left-hand corner. That is for Reads Across America. For the wreaths that they place on the tombs of the soldiers, during the holiday seasons. I'm super happy to be part of that. My area is still Arlington Cemetery, but if they oversell Arlington Cemetery, obviously they spread it out across all veteran cemeteries all across the United States. And I'm super excited to be part of that. I'm wearing my Mental Health Warrior t-shirt tonight. All of our great t-shirts can be found on VeteranTrashTalk.com. Just go out there and you can search for all of our great merchandise and everything that we have. Along with that, you see the 10th Mountain Whiskey Company up in the upper corner. You can go out to 10th Mountain Whiskey. The bourbon is great. It's awesome. I bought a whole bunch of bottles and I brought back with me, and I'm spreading the 10th Mountain love across Italy. And so far, everybody I've shared that with, the Italians, absolutely love that bourbon. And so I'm slowly getting addicted to it. Now, the problem with that is I'll have to figure out how to get more whiskey shipped over here to me over here in the States to get that figured out. But with that, that was a lot. And I'm doing okay, by the way, anybody who asked. Lynn, so give us a quick update on the last week. You got tied up with work and something you wasn't able to get on.
Oh, no. Okay, so what happened was, I think it was that CrowdStrike when...
the internet went down. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the crazy part is, so it was down the Friday before, and then with my computer and all that stuff, it didn't get back up until Wednesday. Well, then Wednesday, everything came back up for me, and then my entire internet just was off for the next 2-3 days. So they literally didn't fix my internet, AT&T here at home, till Saturday.
Wow, that's crazy. It's amazing that when something happens, how intertwined our lives are with the internet. You don't realize that until obviously when you don't have internet anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't even because I work from home. I couldn't get anything done. I had super important meetings to get done, and obviously those needed to be pushed back. So, I mean, it's amazing how our lives are literally at our fingertips and how we can't do anything. And so it was crazy for me to see and on the news people just having their planes flights delayed, and 911 calls not going through, and all kinds of things have just been affected throughout the entire nation. And so I definitely was affected here, and then our internet was affected for a while.
Well, I'm glad it's all fixed and you're back up and running and you're able to get onto the podcast tonight. Appreciate that. Tonight we're going to be going over a lot of things. So if you don't have a notebook and pad, please get it out. Everything that I'm going to talk about, I will encourage everybody to go out and do their own research. And any medications that you are taking, please talk with your doctor before going off any medications. As I slowly transitioned myself to a natural way of healing, I did work with my doctor. Of course, I had a functional doctor. And if you don't know what a functional doctor is, they're a doctor who looks more at holistic medications and looks at your genes and how your body takes in medications a little bit differently than maybe your standard doctor does. And so with the help of my functional doctor, I was able to transition completely off all medications. And I medicate myself a natural way, which is what I will talk about tonight. But before I jump into that, I still got my Mental Health Warrior book still available, the Green Screen Google Nut. But you can go out to my website. I did reduce the price to $19.99. And so plus shipping and handling. So it's a little bit cheaper than on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, but that book is still available. And if you do order through my website, I will sign it. There's a little block up there that you put a little, if you want to give for a Christmas gift, 9/11's coming up. Obviously, the book's about 9/11, my experiences with that. And so I'll get it signed and get into the mail to you as quick as I can. It's a P.O. box here, so they're fairly good with the mail. So it's not too bad. So with that, before we jump in, Lynn, do you have anything to say before I jump in the middle of it, or?
I honestly, this week don't have much to say.
What's going on with the Reverend Warrior?
So with them,
I know you're taking a break from them, right?
Yeah, so I've been taking a break, and then I know in August I'm going to jump right back in, but I have been taking a big break from doing all that stuff, especially because it's summertime and it's really hot. And then stepping outside in Florida is almost like stepping outside into a sauna, an outdoor sauna, because you step outside and you're automatically sweating and drenched from head to toe. So other than that, my sister joined the Jeep Club. So she has a Jeep Wrangler now too. And let's see, my husband comes into town tonight. So after this podcast, I'll be picking him up from the airport.
Nice. How's your dad doing? I know he popped in a couple episodes ago, and
yes, he's still here actually. So
he is. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's been here for about 2 weeks now. So he's leaving next week. So he's enjoying his stay. He's been walking around every day, taking care of his mental health and his physical health, walking up and down the neighborhood in the mornings. And so he's made tons of friends. So he's like, he came home one day with this vegetable. I don't know what it's called in English, but it's called malunggay. And it's kind of like leaves and herbs. And one of the neighbors gave it to him. And so he's been using that to cook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so as we go through the program tonight, Chris is going to bring up a couple of books. These are books that I bought myself that I have studied over the years. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got your pencil and paper ready. And so, I'm not an advocate to go out and buy the books if you don't need to. Obviously, you can research everything online. I will caveat this that, one of the people I am going to talk about is a world-renowned natural doctor. She's lives down in Australia. She's well known all across the internet, and I do follow her, and I usually take her advice. But anything that you see on the internet, before you try anything, please do your own research and please talk to your own doctor to ensure that you won't have any complications if you do try some of the remedies that I'm talking about. And they're very basic and just little life changes that you can make. But, a lot of things that happened and that I've done for the last year really opened my eyes on how dependent you become on your doctor. And one thing that really cued me in on that is, when I moved to Virginia, I started taking allergy pills. And it went from seasonal allergies to take an allergy pill all the time for 12 months out of the year. And I'm like, well, this isn't right. And that really started me looking at things differently. On how I care. And now I don't take any allergy pills. I haven't taken any for a long time. What I do is I take natural honey, and that's the first thing I'm going to jump into. So this jar here is late summer honey that I got here in Italy. So I found a local beekeeper. You can find local beekeepers in your area. And I got honey for the different seasons. So the 4 different seasons. So I got honey for spring. I got honey for summer. I got honey for fall. And I got honey for winter. Because here in Italy, they obviously collect honey. Now, in some parts of your country, you won't have that. But you want to get that honey for that season that you're in. And it's important to get organic, local honey. Because if you buy store-bought honey, a lot of that honey isn't actually real honey.
Not in your area.
Yeah, like in the plastic bears and stuff like that, that is not real honey. It's manufactured honey, and it's not going to give you the same benefit. Now, what do I do with honey? Well, a couple of things. One, honey obviously helps with allergies. And so if you take honey every day, a little teaspoon in the mornings or whatever, it will help you with your allergies with the area that you're living in. So if I'm traveling to a new area and I'm going to be there for a while, I always go out and get the local honey for that area.
Earl says you eat it.
Yeah, that's right. You eat it. You can eat it. And, but something else I figured out about honey, and Google this because this is pretty crazy, and you can't have no alcohol when you do this. So please, if you do what I just said with honey at night, do not drink alcohol with it. And people say, oh, well, but alcohol has honey in it. Yeah, but when they go through the fermentation process, the things that help you with the honey is taken out. And so your body will recognize that as one sugar. But if the honey is taken separately from the alcohol, your body, it's 2 different types of sugars and it confuses your system. I made that mistake and it screwed me up for 2 days. I'll never make it again. So if you have any type of alcohol, do not do what I'm talking about next. But if you haven't had any alcohol, take a teaspoon of honey at night before you go to bed. And why do you do that? Because what that does is the honey helps your liver produce the sugars that gives your brain the energy it needs to repair your body for what went on that day. And you will get very good sleep with this. Now, I'll caveat that. The first time I did it, I had very vivid dreams and not good dreams. That soon went away, and I think it was just my brain processing everything that I was thinking of that day. But I will tell you, I slept really well on it, and I can really tell a difference when I take the honey at night before I go to bed. Now, it's not recommended for children. If your kids have allergies and they're over the age of 1, you can give them the honey in the morning, like Lloyd takes his honey in the morning prior to school or whatever he's doing. He takes his honey in the morning. So that's important to do. So honey, if you have allergies, please look into honey. That's the first thing you can take naturally. That's going to help you. And it helps honey has all kinds of benefits. It helps regulate blood sugar. It has so many benefits, but I only talk about those 2. You can Google it. You come up with a lot more. And I'm going to come back to honey because there's a lot of different things you can do with honey. That's very important. Did you know that about you? We've talked about honey and allergies before, Lynn, on the show. I think
we have done it, but what people need to realize is that the honey that you buy has to be local to you to prevent the allergies, because those bees or whatever, they're going around getting the pollen and all the other stuff in the nature that's local to your area.
Yeah.
So if you
So
buy
that's why
something
it's important
not
for
in
your
your area, if you buy something from the store, that's that's been pasteurized, it's not in your area, definitely it's not going to help as much as your local honey would for yourself. And it actually helps our local beekeepers too, keep them in business.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a couple friends that are beekeepers actually that have their own honey business. It's really well. And people don't know that you can't give honey to babies because it does contain bacteria that could be harmful and cause botulism. So
yeah, so they have to be over a year old because it's not pasteurized to give them honey. So sure you ensure that. Of course, Lynn, Lloyd's 10. But we come into a new area. Obviously, here in Italy, it's summertime now. It's hot. It's dry. It's very dusty here. We run in the hundreds almost every day with no rain. We haven't had rain for a long time, and so it's a little different environment. And so our allergies this time of the year are kicking up, and I think it's just because of the dust and stuff. And so that's why I had to switch us to the late summer honey. Which, if you notice the other bottles, this honey is very dark. The other bottles we got, and I didn't bring one in because it's almost all gone, is very light. So it's several shades lighter than what this dark is. So that's very important. So The next thing I want to talk about is something that I do. It's something that we started a couple of years ago, and you can Google it and figure it out. Sunglasses and sunscreen. Now, there's been a lot of studies come out lately about the effects of sunscreen that it has in causing cancer. Now, I will tell you that, of course, I'm fairly fair-skinned, not too much, but Lloyd is. And a couple of years ago, he would get sunburned going out. And then I read this article and did my research. And so this is what I found out. And this is the person I follow on Instagram and YouTube. Her name is Barbara O'Neill, and she talks about this. So when you have sunglasses on, and they have the polarized sunglasses, and you go outside, the problem with that is that your body, your mind doesn't know you're outside. So it thinks you're inside. So it doesn't tell, your brain's not telling your skin, hey, close the cells down so you don't get sunburned. And so when you lather on sunscreen, you're not getting the health benefits of the sun, the vitamin D, and all the good things that we get from the sun. The sun actually will cure some skin cancers. It's actually doing just the opposite of what sunscreen has done. And you can do your own research on this. So I don't go outside. I never wear sunglasses anymore. Lloyd has not had sunscreen on in 2 years. We cut it all out. We send notes to school. They're not allowed to put it on him. He went today to a water park. It's 100 degrees outside. He was outside in that water park for 6 hours, and he did not get sunburned at all. And he hasn't been sunburned since we stopped it. And I've talked to a lot of my friends who, obviously like me, are outside a lot. And it's pretty amazing. And once you realize that and start doing it, now you have to be within reason. Don't be stupid about it. But, every day I sit out in the sun every single day for 30 minutes. I have my shirt off. I'm out on my balcony, sitting in the sun. And it's very important because the sun will also help. If you look at the sun with your eyes closed, it helps with your eyes and your vision some too. And so there's a whole lot of things you can do research on with the sun. Now, I'm going to talk about coconut oil, and there's a lot of benefits with coconut oil. I'm going to get into that now. What they told you for years, you remember this, Lynn? They used to say, oh, if you put coconut oil on, you'll get sunburned when you go out in the sun. You remember that? And that you have to use sunscreen? And it's absolutely the opposite. Coconut oil is actually a natural sunscreen. And so, if we're going to go out in the sun or go to the beach or something, we put coconut oil on. If you're going to go to a swimming pool, most swimming pools use chlorine as a way to keep the algae and stuff down. Chlorine, as we know, is not good for the human body. But if you put coconut oil on prior to getting to that pool, it will block the chlorine to be able to be absorbed into your skin. And so that becomes very helpful. And so coconut oil is very important, and it is a good for psoriasis also. And so lots of benefits of coconut oil. You can look at now. Something else I do with coconut oil, a couple of things. One, I put a teaspoon of coconut oil in my coffee. Now, why do I do that? Because it's good for you internally. It helps with your metabolism. And it's just a good fat for your body to have. And so once a day, I stick it in my coffee. I don't do it all the time because I take another oil too every single day, and I'll jump into that next. But yeah, so coconut oil is lots of benefits, but something else I do with coconut oil.
Good for your hair.
That's what I'm going to get into next. Once a week, I take a teaspoon of coconut oil, a teaspoon of honey, and 1 egg, and I stick it in a bowl and I mix it up and I put it on my hair for 1 hour. And what that does, with 5 drops of essential rosemary oil, what that does is that helps nourishes your hair. It helps your hair grow back. I know that you guys tease me. It's kind of hard to tell, but since I've been doing this for a year, if you went back and looked at photos of me a year ago, I was almost completely bald. My hair now has slowly started growing back. It's come in darker now for some reason. I don't know. And so I've been doing that religiously for a year. Another thing you can do is you can take, once again, a teaspoon of coconut oil, a teaspoon of honey, and a teaspoon of coffee grounds. Now, what are these coffee grounds you've made coffee with or you haven't? It doesn't matter. mix that up with 1 egg, and then you apply that to your face and you let it sit on your face for 30 minutes. That is a natural Botox. A lot of people don't know that. So it exfoliates your skin. It puts a lot of good nutrients back into your skin. And I also do that once a week also. But with your eggs that you get, it's very important to make sure that not only are they cage-free, but they're soy-free. And the problem is a chicken, they can say, oh, it's cage-free, but they're still feeding it high corn and soy diet. So it's very important to look for and try to find the soy-free eggs if you're not getting it from a local source of people, because chickens are herbivores. So they run around, they eat bugs, they'll eat meat, they'll eat anything. And so a lot of people don't realize that, and that's a natural diet for a chicken. And so that's a couple of things that you can do to help with, your hair, your face, also internally you can help with it. Now, something else that I do is, and it's very important, is olive oil. And you guys all know, of course, I'm here in Italy. My bottle's green. You won't be able to see it, but extra virgin olive oil. With olive oil, it's very important. If it's in a plastic bottle, it's shit. It's no good. If it's in a clear bottle, it's crap. It's no good. It has to be in a tinted bottle. But most importantly, when you look at the back of it, whether it's from Spain, from Italy, from Greece, it needs to come from one country. It needs to have a lot number on it and be traceable. If it's not, then it's crap. Because what they're using is they're using the leftover process of making olive oil, and they're combining it with different ones. So if you look on the back of your label olive oil and it's got 3 different countries on it, it's crap. It's rancid already. It's not good olive oil. So make sure that's important. Also, along with your avocado oils, and you shouldn't be eating any seed oils because seed oils are horrible for you. You can Google that, and I'm going to bring up a book here in a little bit as I go on. If you got any questions, please tune in. And as I go through this, I just have a lot to get through the next 45 minutes. So, it's not that I don't want Lynn to talk, and she can chime in anytime she wants. It's just a lot of, so I'm trying to work my way from my head down. If you haven't noticed that already.
I'm sure people are probably wondering, why does olive oil have to be in a tinted bottle? Well, that's because that it protects it from the light, heat, and oxygen, which degrades the product, and then it becomes rancid.
And olive oil, typically, of course, here in Italy, they cook with olive oil, everything. They cook with, everything with it. But it's important to store it in a cool, dry area and not in direct sunlight, because direct sunlight will affect the quality of your olive oil. Absolutely. And so it's important. So what do I do with olive oil? Obviously, I cook with olive oil, but I take four tablespoons every day. I drink 4 tablespoons every day of olive oil. Now, why do I do that? You can Google it. It'll come up. But olive oil helps with your cholesterol. It helps with how your body metabolizes certain things. It helps clean your blood out and things like that. So basically, it's like eating the Mediterranean diet, which we know is very good for you, without having to eat the Mediterranean diet. And so, we can't, and of course, you can't get good fish nowadays. It's hard to get them that not high in arsenic and other things. But you can take 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and they'll have the same effect on you as eating that good diet. And that's something that you can look into doing if your cholesterol is a little high, or if you're having other issues. It also helps with your skin from getting dry and cracking and wrinkling, and all kinds of things. And so that's very important to you. So I would encourage everybody out there to Google the health benefits of olive oil, and just kind of look at that and slowly change the oils that you use in your house. Seed oils aren't natural. Seed oils cause a lot of problems. That I'm talking about canola oils, and any corn oil or any mixture of seeds. Really, the only oils you gotta have in your house is coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil. But once again, you have to be careful with the avocado oil, because what they're finding out is in some of the cheaper brands is actually soybean. It's not even avocado, or they're mixing it. And so it's very sad. You got to read everything nowadays. It's horrible what they're doing in the States. And so, another thing you can do with coconut oil is, and I do this once a week, twice a week, is they call it oil pulling. And what you do is you take about a teaspoon and you put it in your mouth and you swish it. Okay, what does that do? What does that do? That helps drain your lymph nodes, and it helps clean your teeth and the good bacteria in your teeth that keeps you going. Because what people don't realize is your teeth are bone. Your teeth can repair itself, and this will actually help with your teeth getting rid of cavities. The reason you get a cavity is because your bone has weakened in your teeth. And by oil pulling, and you can Google it, oil pulling or DuckDuckGo it, and read about the importance of oil pulling, because it can actually whiten your teeth. It makes it stronger. If your teeth are sensitive, that'll go away. Now, it takes about 30 to 40 days for the oil pulling really to work, and you have to be consistent with it. One thing that I realized with these natural remedies is you need to be consistent with it in order for it to really have the effects that you want to have, because it's not going to be instantaneous. With the same thing with with the hair and the facial stuff, you just need to do it on a consistent basis and get yourself into that pattern of doing it. Because I will tell you, it has a positive effect not only on yourself but also on your mental health, because you will start to feel better. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that is very important, and Barbara O'Neill talks about this a lot, is cayenne pepper. And I have it right here. Cayenne pepper. Now, cayenne pepper is one of the best herbs that you can take, hands down, best spice that you can take. And why is that? Because it cleans the blood. It helps with blood flow. It gets rid of plaque in the blood. It really helps anything. And so I started out taking an eighth of a teaspoon a day, because it burns a little bit when you first take it, but it goes away very quickly. It helps with acidic in the stomach. It helps with all kinds of things. If you're taking cholesterol medicine, or you're taking anything like that, high blood pressure, cholesterol medicine, if you start using cayenne pepper, you'll eventually get off those medications. Now, I will tell you that once again, you need to work with your doctor before you get off any medications at all, period, when you start on the cayenne pepper. So you start out with an eighth of a teaspoon, and like now I take a half a teaspoon, but literally you could take cayenne pepper all day long. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to benefit you. But it will actually stop if you have some type of internal bleeding in your arteries and veins. It will actually heal that. And it's really one of the most powerful herbs out there that you can take to help heal your body naturally. And it's pretty amazing. And I think either Chris or Lynn put the link up there to Barbara O'Neill, and she talks a lot about cayenne pepper and the importance of it. And I will tell you, I've noticed a huge difference since I've been doing cayenne pepper. The funny story, that when I first started taking cayenne pepper, and I don't know why it was, that after about a week, I was just craving it, and I literally could not eat enough of it. And I don't know why this was. I was putting it on my rice, I was putting it on my steak, I was putting everything. 3 meals a day, I was doing it.
Yeah.
The issue with that, not an issue, my body was getting rid of something in me, and that's why I was doing that. But if you take a lot of cayenne pepper in a short amount of time, it will clean you out. And so you will clean your intestines out completely. And I crapped my brains out for 2 days and felt a lot better, but then it went away. I'd not had those cravings like that before. So I don't know if I had a parasite in my system or something wasn't right in my system. My body knew that this was going to fix it. And it just went away, but I haven't had that craving since then. So it will give you the crappers. So if you are constipated, you can't take enough cayenne pepper.
So
will make you go to the bathroom, which is not a bad thing.
I cook a lot with Tony's Castries, a lot of Cajun seasoning, and Cajun seasoning has lots of cayenne pepper in it. So I love it. And maybe that's why the Louisiana people are so healthy out there.
It's important that don't get confused with chili pepper. It's a different pepper. And chili flakes, it's not the same thing. It has to be cayenne pepper and has to come from that pepper. So it is a little bit different. Now, with that, a lot of people have gotten into the Himalayan salts and taken the natural salt. So Barbara O'Neill talks about this, and it's very important. They used to talk about how table salt causes high blood pressure, which it does. But the reason it does isn't the fault of the salt. It's what they take out of the salt so it doesn't stick together when you're eating table salt. And because of that, the salt is not properly absorbed into the cell, which causes your cells to expand, which causes pressure, which obviously causes high blood pressure. So what do you do with that? One thing that she talks about, and one thing I'm a big advocate of, is you can't see it because of the blue screen. You can see it there a little bit. Celtic salt. Now, why am I talking about Celtic salt or gray salt and not Himalayan salt? The problem with Himalayan salt, and you have to be careful, is that the way they mine it. And so what's going on with Himalayan pink salt is it has high arsenic levels. And you can DuckDuckGo that, you can do your research and find out that, because it's the way China's mining it in the Himalayas. And so they're taking the top layers off, and it's been known to be high in arsenic. Now, Himalayan salt does have more minerals in it than Celtic salt, but Celtic salt is still mined the old way, and it has a lot of those good minerals in that your body needs. Okay, so what's important in Celtic salt? So every morning I get up, I got the coarse Celtic salt here. I take a grain, I stick it on my tongue, and I let it dissolve. And what I'm doing is all those 84 minerals that Celtic salt has in it is absorbing in my body. It'll help strengthen my teeth. It'll help internally with, blood pressure, making sure I got the right magnesium levels, all those things this salt does. And so I only use Celtic salt. I eat several granules of it all throughout the day, and that helps me replenish the minerals and all the trace minerals that my body needs. And so it's very important to look at the because consuming salt, Celtic salt, is not bad for you. It's actually quite good for you. It's consuming the table salt that's bad for you and that's causing the problems. And so if you have a high salt diet that you're using white table salt, please look into the gray salt or the Celtic salt as an alternative. Now, I'm not saying that all Himalayan salt is bad. You just have to be careful with the Himalayan salt, because
some of it might have lead also.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful which brands you buy for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Celtic salt's great, because what I realized is when I started taking the Celtic salt is I started drinking less water. Well, why do I drink less water? Because now my cells are more efficient at pulling in that water and metabolizing the water the way it's supposed to. And so I drink less water. Which makes sense, because if I'm drinking less water, I'm not flushing all of those minerals out of my system, and so that's very interesting that has occurred. And so those are just a couple of things that you can do to help. Now, another thing I do, and this is, you can Google it, and I talk about this on the show a lot, is I'm going to talk about some fruits that are very important for you to take in every day and think about. So, they talk about, not eating too much sugars and things like that with your liver. If your liver is operating optimally, right, and you can Google this or you can do your research on it, cancer won't get a hold of your body. Why is that? Because that's what the liver is, such an important organ in the body. And so what can you do to help with your liver? If you're starting to get belly fat or other things, that can be a key factor in that you're having some liver issues. Of course, you can go to the doctor and get a liver test done and everything. So what I do every morning is I have a lemon. Now, make sure your lemons are organic. Make sure they have seeds in them. If they don't have seeds in them, they're not organic. Now, I know out here in Italy, sometimes I buy lemons they are organic because there's lemon trees everywhere. It's just sometimes lemons they have undeveloped seeds in them. And so it happens. But I know because they're irregular, they're not pretty, that they're organic lemons. And so what I do is I cut the lemon in half. I squeeze it into a glass of water, just a small glass of water every morning. That's the first thing I do when I drink in the morning, is I take lemon water. Now, why do I do that? Because the acidic in the lemon water, your liver loves. And your liver really enjoys that first thing in the morning. So the first thing I get up in the morning, I drink my lemon water. I wait 15 minutes before I drink anything else. What else do I do with the lemon? two things. Olive oil and lemon seeds have the same properties. The lemon seeds will act as a pain reliever. And so it will eat 6 of the lemon seeds a day, and that helps me manage the pain that I have in my body. And it's really quite effective, actually. And I was kind of shocked by that because not only does it have anti-inflammatories, high in vitamin C, and all those good things, it also has the same property as aspirin. I didn't know that. Now, with the lemon seeds, they are bitter. You do have to chew them. You can't swallow them because if you swallow them, your body will just pass them. And so if you have pain or you want to look at different ways, not taking ibuprofen all the time, which I used to take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen quite often. I take nothing now. Like I said, I've been completely off medications now for 3 years. And I used to get Botox in my back, and I haven't done that for a year. And so I don't put anything foreign in my body that doesn't come naturally from the earth. I just don't do that anymore. So lemons are a really good resource. They're cheap to buy. You can go out and research it. And if you got, like I said, you can follow Ball O'Neill. There's all kinds of herbalists out there and people you can talk to see. And here later on, I'm going to bring up some books that I've used to study. Another one is grapefruit. Now, you don't eat the seeds of a grapefruit, but it has to be red grapefruit. What does red grapefruit do for you? Well, red grapefruit will help, obviously, with cholesterol. It's been medically proven, medical studies done, that red grapefruit, not white grapefruit, but red grapefruit, can help control your cholesterol levels inside your body. Now, I got to love-hate with cholesterol because in the 70s, we were a lot healthier than we are now, and the average cholesterol level in the 70s was 300, and that was considered normal. Your body has to have cholesterol to operate. Your body doesn't make anything bad. So if they talk about LDLs being bad or HDLs being bad, there's nothing bad that your body makes. It's all there for a reason. And your cholesterol levels are important because that's your liver producing fat to fix things in your body, and also keeps that fat layer around your brain so you don't get Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is a medically disease out there that you can go and research and look. That didn't start happening until they started low on cholesterol levels. And you can do all your research and figure that out for yourself. But I no longer pay any attention to my cholesterol levels because I'm a healthy person, and they all stay pretty much the same since I've made all these natural changes in my life. Is something that, you can talk to a doctor about, you can go through, but, there's a reason why, and I'll show a book in a little bit, the Native Americans is, they knew how to heal themselves off the land, and any people indigenous people, they know that and they understand that. And it's really sad that we've had generations now where we've lost that knowledge. Even, knowledge is me growing up as a kid and living off the land when I was a child. We all moved to the cities and got off out of the country, and I forgot all about that until I got older and realized that my parents, we never went to the grocery store. We hardly ever went to the grocery store as kids because the land provided everything that we had. And so with that, the next thing I want to talk about is kiwi. I don't know if you guys like kiwis. I'm not a big fan of kiwi, but I eat it. Now, why do I eat it? Because kiwi, you can eat 1 or 2 a day, will actually repair your DNA. And so if you have something going on inside your body where your DNA is kind of wonky, you can eat a kiwi 1 or 2 a day. Make sure they're organic. This one's very small. It's very odd shaped. But the kiwi is a very important fruit that you can have and buy, and it helps repair if you have any issues with your DNA. One thing I'm going to talk about too next is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is very important to do. Is something that I've done for a long time, and I think, Lynn, we've talked about that before on the show. Mm-hmm. And it's the number of hours that you go without eating, and you can choose whatever that is. Now, I don't normally eat breakfast, so for me, my eating times are between 7 p.m. till 12 o'clock the next day, or 1 p.m. the next day. I don't eat. I take all my things I talked about in the morning, the lemon water and all that. That doesn't break my fast. But why is fasting important? One, it can help you lose weight. One, it can help you control your type 2 diabetes, all kinds of things that can help your body with. But when you start doing fasting, and please talk to your doctor before you start doing it, is when you get to the 17-hour mark, the 18-hour mark, the 20, and I'll do a 24-hour fast, no problem. And I will tell you, before I started fasting, the thought of going that long without food, I'd be like, there's no way I can do it. And now, I mean, I don't even think about it. I can go all day long and not eat, and I'm home most of the time. And I don't even think about eating food. And once you break that cycle, it's not that hard to do. But once you get past 17 hours, this is important. Your body starts looking around for things for energy. And what's the first thing it's going to go do? It's going to look at any abnormal cells in your body and start breaking them down. And so if I start feeling sick, or if I start feeling kind of bad or whatever, I'll do a long fast. And a lot of times I don't even get sick because I know my body is going to get rid of those abnormal cells or whatever's going on in my system. You know, it's the old saying, used to say,
you eat a cold and you starve a fever.
Yeah.
You eat a cold and you starve a fever. Yep.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
You know, so intermittent fasting is something, and you just pick 16 hours of the day that you don't eat. You can drink as long as you don't have sugary drinks and things like that. That'll break your fast. Honey's fine. I don't have a problem with honey, but any like regular sugar or table sugar and thing like that, you want to kind of avoid. But when you're on your eating time, you can eat whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And I think for a lot of people, you know, they get so wrapped up in diets. You know, you get too wrapped up in that. But really with fasting, once you're out of your fasting window, you can eat whatever you want. As long as you eat, make sure you eat good stuff and not a whole lot of processed food, because that's never good for you. But with that, I'm going to pull up a couple of books that I've studied and learned from. Chris, could you put up the herbal medicine book, the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine? And so we can show it. So this is one of the very first books that I bought. I've had this book about 2 years, and I think it has about 550 herbs and remedies for the common ailments. And so what was important for me, both for mental health and also for my family, is everybody's different. So I looked at things that my family normally get. You know, we normally get a cold or sickness. First of all, we don't hardly get sick at all anymore anyway. But I look for the herbal medicine that fixes what my family seems to get. You know, some people get colds more often. Some people get earaches more often. And one thing nice about this book is not only does it tell you what to take and how to take it, it also tells you how much you should be taking. And that's very important when you look at herbal medicine. Now, what I like about this book is it will tell you that some herbs, you need to talk to an expert before you take them. And so what a lot of people don't realize is you can take honey and garlic and onion and mix it together. And that's like the best cough syrup and flu balm you can have. And that's something you can make and just set aside in your house to have. Oregano is a more powerful antibiotic than tetracycline. And a lot of people don't realize that either. And obviously garlic has very high antibiotic properties in it. And a lot of people don't realize that too. And also with garlic, what's important is if you're going to cook with garlic and you chop it up, before you cook it, you need to wait at least 15 minutes because that allows the enzymes to release in the garlic. If you don't wait 15 minutes, you're not going to get any health benefits out of garlic when you cook it. So that's very important to remember, and that's something that I had to remember because I didn't know that. And so for years I was cooking with garlic and not getting health benefits out of it. So this is a really good book to have. It's I think I got on Barnes and Noble or I don't know, how much was it? It was only $40 US when I bought it. Maybe a little cheaper now, but it's a good book to have. It covers all regions, all areas. It kind of gives you a history of the herbal medicine stuff. It's amazing how we've gone through life. Like with castor oil, I use castor oil is the best oil that you can have. The way it penetrates your body, it will break up cataracts in your eyes. It will get rid of psoriasis. It'll get rid of, any dry spots you have on your skin. It'll help with constipation and stuff, but not taking it internal. This is using externally. You just rub it on your skin and stuff. You don't really drink it. It's not too good for that. Barbara O'Neill talks endlessly about castor oil and the importance of castor oil. But along with that, Chris, can you pull up the Native American Herbalist Bible? I think I sent you the photo of that. Yeah, so this is another book I got. This book is actually 13 books in one, and it covers different Native American tribes and their herbal list. Now, I've only had this book about a year, so I'm not as familiar with it as I am with the encyclopedia, but it has a lot of great, remedies in there, similar to the other book. But this Native American book is really important because, for me, it teaches me how to live off where I'm living at in the United States, because obviously the Native Americans were all across the United States. And so it's just a wealth of knowledge in this book, and it's another good book to have. It doesn't quite go into the details of the encyclopedia as far as the amounts to take and this kind of stuff, but it does give you lots of helpful hints. And one thing I do like about the book is it gives you, you probably can't see because of the green screen, but it gives you places inside the book where you can take notes about different herbs. And so that's two really good books that you can get. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and we're going to end this here because I'm getting about 46 minutes in. But Chris, bring up any one of the farming books that I sent you. And so, if you don't have a lot of space, it doesn't take a lot of space or knowledge. This is probably one of the best books out there, Mini Farming. It shows you how you can be self-efficient on as little as a quarter acre of land or less. And so a lot of the things in the herbs that I talk about, you can grow very easily in your home, or if you live in an apartment in somewhere. And now I will caveat that to make sure that any herbs that you're growing, that they come from all natural. They're not GOMO, genetically modified. And so that becomes very important. A lot of you who've been following the podcast, I'm a big gardener. I had a huge seed library, and I never used chemicals in my garden. I planted certain flowers, and I did companion growing. And so I never used any chemicals in my garden, and I kept it chemical free, and I kept it bug free because, there's good bugs and bad bugs that you want in your garden. And so that's very important. And so if you know nothing about growing anything, this is a great first book to get to kind of help you to kind of get into farming if you haven't been, because there's no reason why you can't grow your own things. And if you don't have time to grow, go to a farmer's market. There's always farmer's market, especially this time of the year, local to your area. And you know what? Learn how to can. There's no reason why you can't go to the farmer's market. You save some money. Why go to the grocery store? It's more expensive. You can go to a farmer's market. You can buy your green beans. You can buy your corn. You can buy all that. Take a canning class. Learn how to can, or YouTube it, because canning is not that hard. And learn how to make yourself as self-efficient as you can and as healthy as you can. If you don't want to grow your own stuff, you can go out. I know in Missouri that there were supermarkets that were ran by the Amish, and you can go there and buy things, and it's a lot cheaper than going to the grocery store, but all their stuff's all natural. And so, it's pretty incredible. Like here in Italy, when I go buy my eggs, none of them's refrigerated. Now, obviously they have eggs that are, manufactured not good, but I always get the bio eggs, which is the organic eggs here in Italy, but they're not been washed. So, as a chicken lays an egg, it puts an enzyme over it that protects the egg. And so it's up until the point that you wash that off, there's no reason to refrigerate an egg. But in America, they wash the eggs, they put chlorine or whatever they're dipping chickens in nowadays in the eggs. And so it loses that protective barrier. So the last time I checked, you don't have to refrigerate. That's right. Chickens don't have to refrigerate their butt. And so, so, I mean, that's just, some things you can look into. Now, obviously, I covered just really things that I take for myself that's helpful. And there's so many, I could go on for 2 hours about all the things that you can do naturally to heal your body. And I think it's very important. Not only that, but it's also cost effective. I mean, when you learn how to make things yourself, how to can things, how to do things they did back a long time ago, you save a lot of money, and you realize there's no reason why to run to the grocery store. You can grow a tomato plant, and you can learn to make your own tomato sauces, and you can learn to freeze your own tomato sauces. You don't even have to can them; you can freeze them. In Virginia, I didn't do a lot of canning. I froze a lot of my stuff. And why did I freeze stuff? Because I was 100% off the grid. So I had solar and I had my battery backup. And so I didn't need to can because I would always have some type of refrigeration. Now, obviously, if you don't have that, then you need to, look at canning your stuff. And you can even can meat. There's all kinds of things you can do. And you can go out there and do the research out there. And I just hope that, I got a lot of questions, but with diet and exercise, not so much diet, but with changing your diet to a more healthy diet, to looking at things differently, like with the Celtic salt or the cayenne pepper or the olive oil or grapefruit, lemons, kiwi, little things you can make changes in your life that can make your life a lot better. And they don't have to be, you don't have to do everything at once. All these things I talked about didn't happen all at once. It just came in little steps. And as I educated myself more, then I thought, oh, well, I need to do this. Well, I need to do that. Or, oh, my blood pressure's up a little bit high. Okay, so well, then maybe I started the cayenne pepper. That's why I started it. And my blood pressure's fine now, along with the Celtic salt. And so it's those kinds of things that you have to work with, not only for yourself, but also talk to your doctor and, obviously get their advice on anything. Chris, you can go ahead and take that book down. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But hey, I just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. So there was a lot of information that I pumped out there, but hey, look, at any time, if you have any questions, just throw it out there on Facebook or Instagram or X or wherever you're watching this at. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or give any advice out there. There is a link out there to Barbara O'Neill. She is really an awesome person. I think she's 93 now, and she looks like she's in her 40s. Pretty incredible. But with that, Lynn, I'm going to take a break. Do you have anything to throw out there before we close it up?
Well, I do appreciate how passionate you are about the subject. You could tell. And I bet you could talk about this all day long if we had the time. I definitely learned a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of those things are worth it to look into. So especially the Barbara O'Neill's Instagram. With all
well, I will tell you this, all of this, the one thing that surprised me the most is the sunglasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was interesting information as well. So
and so like I said, we use the coconut oil, and we don't wear. I mean, now if you're driving in the car and stuff like that, it's perfectly fine to wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
But if you're going to the beach or something like that, it's within moderations, but sunscreen.
I'm definitely gonna tell my sister. One of my sisters, she has bad reactions to chlorine, so she never goes into the pool. So I'm gonna tell her about the coconut oil. Like slather that on your body, girl.
Yeah, have a research.
Get in the pool.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's like some people they use the saltwater filters in it, but it still takes a little bit of chlorine even with the saltwater.
Yeah, well, the salt pools, I think they turn into chlorine. I don't know the science behind
it's
that.
It's something done in the pump, but it's
there's some sort of science. I'm not a scientist, but again, for everyone that's listening, make sure you consult a health professional or a professional holistic person out there before you try any of these things to make sure that your body is good for it, because you don't want to put your body in shock.
Exactly. And just like, with, drinking coconut water and anything else is within moderations. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Along with everything else, Reads Across America Radio, they replay my podcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. Just like I said in the beginning, just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and search for Reads Across America Radio, not only for my great programming, but also for all the other great programming and all the great music they play. Got the QR code up there for Reads Across America, where you can donate as little as $5 to ensure that the wreath is placed across those veterans who have passed on, over the past year, over all the wars and everything. And please always take care of yourself. We got the 10th Mountain. I think, Chris, can you throw the 10th? We do have a code for 10th Mountain, I think, where you can save a little bit of money. I don't remember what it is, but we'll throw that up there. Remember to go to AfterVeteransTrashTalk.com for all of our great merchandise. Please follow us on all of our social media. You can follow me and Lynn. We're on, yep, there you go. And
Code VTT.
Code VTT. You can follow Lynn on her social media, follow me on all my social media. And just, if you have any questions, save 10%. Hey, that 10% adds up. I'll tell you that right now. And so, it's just important to, take care of ourselves. Lynn, do you have any final words before we sign off for the month of August? Because we won't be back on in September.
Oh,
we
well,
may change the day of the podcast, but we haven't decided
Yeah.
yet. But we'll let everybody know if the day changes.
Well, I know a lot of schools start in August, so happy first day of school to those of you who have school-age children. I know we're getting ready to do back-to-school shopping. There's going to be lots of great sales out there. I think there might be a tax-free day coming up. But yeah, so getting ready for a new season to start, and that's it. Just hit us up at VeteranTrashTalk.com.
That's right. And so this will be the 4th season of the Mental Health Warrior. So I'm kind of excited about that. I can't believe it's been 4 years already. Lynn's got some life changes and I got some life changes. So we just may have to change the day that we actually do the live show on. But like with all podcasts, you can watch it anytime that you want, just like I said earlier on. And you can re-listen to it on the radio at Reach Across America Radio on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And like I said, there was a lot to digest today. So if you have any questions or something pops in your head later on, just hit me up on social media. I'll be more happy to answer it. I am very passionate about this. And I think it's very important that you break the cycle, because you think about it. You take one medication, it causes this problem. You take another medication, then another medication, then another medication, then another medication. Where does it stop? It's a constant circle. And so I was able over time to stop that circle. And I've never been more healthier in my life. I turned 55 this year. I'm ripped. I ran 7 miles the other day. I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you that these things and these things that I've changed in my life, had I not made those changes, I don't think I'd be as healthy as I am now and able to do the things that I am able to do now. And I think a lot of that has to do with of me breaking that cycle and becoming more of a tree hugger, right, if you will. But just looking at ways differently to do stuff, right? I mean, if well, I forget what the saying is on that, but if you're constantly doing the same thing and expecting the same result, it's not going to happen, right? It's like I talk with mental health. If you know what that path looks like and you keep going down that path and it has the same ending, why not try left or right? And so why not educate yourself a little bit on the old ways of doing things, on how your grandparents lived and your great-grandparents, because they lived completely different than we did. And I think it's just important to look at things differently. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again, because next thing you know, it'll be an hour and a half. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great month of August. It is back to school. Enjoy your last couple of weeks of summer. I know for a lot of parents whose kids do go to school, it's kind of a stressful time for them also, because now you're home alone. You don't know what you can do, and you can always day drink within moderation. But hey, if you take your lemon water, your liver's working optimally, so you can handle a little bit of alcohol. That's right. But hey, with that, please remember that we are brothers and sisters keepers. So please reach out and make sure everybody's doing okay as we go winding down summer and getting into the fall months. We do know with the change of seasons, it can be stressful to a lot of people who are having mental health issues. And with that, and like I said, Veterans Trash Talk's out there. We're out there on social media. So don't suffer in silence. Please reach out and talk to somebody. But with that, you guys have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend.